get started. My name's Jen, and this is your Yin Yoga practice. So Yin is a little bit different. It's more about relaxing through the muscles and engaging the connective tissue, so the fascia that surrounds our body tissues and the ligaments and joints. That's kind of what we're targeting with Yin. So we're going to hold the postures a little bit longer and really work on relaxing through the muscles. And we also tend to use supports, so if you have anything like blocks, great. Otherwise, a thick book or pillows will do. And same with the bolster situation. You can grab some pillows from your bed or the couch or kind of roll together some blankets. So we're going to get started on our backs. If you don't have the support, you can just lay flat on your back. That totally works. And if you have some blocks or books, you can place them out to the sides. And then you're just going to lay back comfortably on that bolster or pillows, whatever support you have. And you can just kind of find that comfortable spot where it connects to your low back, and knees can come out wide, soles of the feet together, palms rest face up. And if you prefer just to have legs straight, that works too. Or you don't even need support underneath the knees either. You can just let gravity kind of do the work and settle in. So once you find a comfortable position, go ahead and close down your eyes. And start to consciously make your way into this space. Your body has arrived. Let's work on fully getting your mind here. And we can do that by just turning your attention to the sensations you feel in your body. Maybe noticing what feels a little bit more tight or tense today. And where your breath is to start. How has your breathing been? This might be the first time you really check in with your breath today. And go ahead and take a big breath in through your nose, fill up, and release it out of your mouth. Just allowing yourself to settle in, relax a little more, maybe really allowing yourself to be supported by the props or the mat underneath you. And today we're going to do a pranayama practice where we really work on expanding through the capacity of our lungs. We're going to do Dirga breath, which is 3-part breathing. So for this breath, we are focusing on breathing into all 3 spaces. We're going to be breathing into the lower lungs, which is near our belly, and then the outer lungs, which is going to be more like the rib cage, and then our upper lungs, which is the chest. So sometimes we tend to just breathe a little bit more shallowly into the chest, and so this practice really helps us to use that full lung capacity. So we'll be breathing in through the nose and back out of the nose. And if you like, you can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. So breathing in through the nose, into the belly, the ribs, the chest. Exhale out of your nose from the chest, the ribs to belly. Inhale, belly lifts, ribs expand, chest rises. Exhale, chest falls, ribs compress, belly presses to spine. Inhale through the belly, the ribs, the chest. Exhale from the chest, the ribs, the belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale. And exhale. go ahead and find your natural rhythm. It might be a little bit longer of a breath, maybe a slightly shorter breath. Find what feels good and natural to you. And then work on lengthening through the inhalations nice and long, and exhalations equally as long. Relaxing through the face. Using this breath sort of as a meditation as you trace the breath visually. You can feel it underneath your palms. And just go ahead and take 5 more full cycles of breath. You can return to normal breathing. Just allow your palms to come back besides you. And just take note of any shifts. If you are starting to feel a little bit calmer, taking big breaths like this can really help to calm the nervous system. We're just going to roll over to the right side. Come off of that support if you have one. And then press yourself on up to a seat. All right, if you've got those pillows or a bolster, just go ahead and turn to face it. We're going to take legs out wide. So you can bring that support underneath you, pillows, bolster, blocks, whatever you'd like. And we're just going to use it to kind of prop ourselves up. You can come down to the elbows and kind of create a nice shelf with your hands for your face. And we're just working on getting a nice forward fold. So you'll probably feel a pretty big stretch in the back of the legs. You can bring a slight bend into the knees so that it's not quite as intense. And then go ahead and close off your eyes. Relaxing through the muscles in the legs, relaxing through the quadriceps, and just finding all those places you can soften. Continuing to breathe nice, long, full breaths, just communicating to your body it's time to rest. Staying present by connecting to the breath, listening to the sound it makes, tracing the breath in through your nostrils, using that as your anchor. As your body starts to open up, you might start to remove some of that support and come down a little bit lower. be here for just about another minute. Can you stay with the sensations you feel in your body, deepening the breath? First, you can start with just lifting up your head and then bringing your hands underneath your body and crawling yourself on up, rise. And once you make your way upright, you can bend into those knees, place your hands beside you, behind you, and just kind of allow your knees to rock side to side. Okay, so we'll take soles of the feet together. We're going to take butterfly pose. So feet come together. And you can use the pillow again or your bolster or whatever you have. Place it on top of your feet. This kind of helps to build the floor up to you for the first few breaths of our practice, maybe first minute or so. And then we're just going to hinge forward. So you can rest your arms somewhere on that support. Maybe even let your head become heavy, just letting go of your neck. And you should feel a nice stretch in that outer hip. Can settle in with a nice cleansing, clearing breath in through your nose. And open, audible exhale. If you felt yourself soften, maybe just take 2 more of those breaths. Each breath as a nice gentle reminder that there's nothing else for you to do in this moment, nothing to solve or fix, just simply to breathe and stay present. If you like, you can remove that support and see if your body's opened up a little bit more for you to come a little deeper into the pose. You can bring your arms out in front of you, palms face up, and just really let your head be heavy. You can even stretch out the neck a little. And just moving your head side to side, taking the right ear over to the right shoulder and left ear over to left. Noticing if you're starting to hold on anywhere, maybe finding a place to relax, relaxing through the hips, softening through the face. And just taking 3 more super slow, super conscious breaths. Again, really teaches us how to slow down. So moving a little bit slower than you might naturally, just start to walk your hands back towards your body, lift up your torso. And just really taking your time to come back upright. And then planting the feet in front of you, hip width distance. Hands can come back behind you, fingertips pointed towards you. And we'll just take a reverse tabletop, lifting the hips, reaching the head back. And taking a couple counter breaths. And have a seat back on the mat, and we're just going to swing those legs around and come to a tabletop position. So taking hands and knees, if you like, you can always place an extra blanket underneath the knees just to give a little bit more cushion. Otherwise, we'll all spread our fingertips really well. And just take a couple of rounds of cat-cow. First, inhaling and dropping the belly, gazing up. And exhale, pressing into the mat, rounding into your back, tucking your chin. Inhaling, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, round and tuck. Finding cow pose and moving to cat. Just opening it up to any other movements that would feel supportive to your spine, maybe taking some side bends. Making some circles. Just really enjoying this time of movement, kind of balancing out all that time in stillness. We'll meet back in that neutral tabletop. We're going to move into melting heart pose. So a couple options. First being no bolster, no props. And essentially what we're doing is just walking the hands out and quite literally melting the heart down to the mat. So fingertips walk out, heart melts, and then you can bring your forehead to the mat, or maybe your chin, but that's a little more intense on the neck. So I recommend forehead coming to the mat. Now, if you feel any tingling or numbness in the shoulders, please, please, please back out. It means you've definitely gone too far. We want to really honor those joints. If this feels too intense, then just feel free to take a child's pose. You can just take knees out wide, soles in to touch, and stretch the arms out. Now, if you want to use some support, you might use it underneath your chest to kind of build the mat up towards you, coming into this option. Or if you want to intensify that shoulder opening, chest opening, you might place that support out in front of you, placing the hands and then melting the heart. So choose whichever option feels best today, and we'll hold this posture just a little shorter than the rest. It can be quite intense on the body. Option to take a clearing breath in through your nose and out of your mouth, soften. okay. Start to really slowly, mindfully, carefully walk those hands back towards your body. We're going to come back to tabletop position and just take a cat stretch. Counter that posture. And a cow pose. And then we're going to move back into child's pose. So you can take traditional knees out wide, toes into touch, but I really like to take knees in and take embryo pose after that. It feels better to me. So you can bring your forehead then down to the mat, arms rest beside you, palms face up. Option to take either option of child's pose. If your forehead's in contact with the mat or a block, you can feel free to sway a little side to side and just gonna give that third eye space a bit of a massage. This might be a nice time to connect with your purpose and what brought you to your mat today. What was your intention? As you breathe in, feeling your back body lift. And as you exhale, your back body falls. And so we'll take one more collective breath together in through our nose. Audible open mouth exhale. And bringing those hands back underneath your shoulders, coming back to tabletop position. So we're going to move a little bit more into the hips. So we're going to take dragon pose, which is kind of like a runner's lunge. So if you do have some blocks or books or a pillow handy, feel free to place those towards the top of the mat. And then you'll simply just step that right leg forward. Once again, if this is, making your knee complain a bit, feel free to make the mat a little thicker or place a blanket underneath it. And then you can use whatever props you have to help lift you up, elevate you a bit. And we're going to be here for a little while. So if you want, just for the first minute or so of this posture, feel free to explore a little movement. So that might look like twisting to the right and taking a bit of a spinal twist. You can feel free to bend into that back leg and reach around for the outer edge of the foot and take a quadricep stretch. If you've got that foot, go ahead and release it and make your way back to forward. And find a position you can hang out in. You should feel a nice stretch through that front hip, the front hip flexor on the left side. And if it feels all right in your body, you can already start to explore a little more depth by coming down to your forearms. Right toes are angled out, heel is in. If you like, you can soften through your shoulders and kind of let your head hang heavy once again. And some of these postures we hold for a little longer. When our body's still, our mind likes to pick up the slack and become a little busier. So just notice if that's happening, no judgment, but just come back to that breath, come back to your body, let go of those thoughts, let them pass on by. An option to explore a little more depth here. If you're using some support, you can come down to the mat. If you notice your body doesn't like that, just back on out. You've got about 30 more seconds. Stay with it. And if you're on your forearms, first start by coming up to your hands. And then really nice and slowly sit those hips back. You might feel some intense sensations. That's all right. And then just shift yourself forward and back. Just breathing a little life into the hip. Getting a little blood flow going. Okay, so we'll work on getting to the outer edge of that right hip. So we're going to move into swan pose, which is sort of like pigeon. We're just going to walk that right foot over, and it doesn't have to be parallel. But do you notice if your knee is at least angled out towards the right rather than completely underneath you? If it's completely underneath you, it's not quite getting that same sensation we're looking for. So just bring it on out over to the right. And then gaze over your left shoulder. See if you can pick up that back knee and stretch it back a bit. Set it back down. And then in Yin, I just really love to use support. So if you've got that pillow or bolster, feel free to place it in front of you and then crawl yourself forward turning one cheek onto the bolster. Now, if swan really doesn't feel good in your body, you should be able to breathe steadily here. If it's not working today, then we can go ahead and take a really similar posture, recline figure 4. So to do that, you'll be on your back and just stack that right ankle on top of the left. This is also a really nice outer hip stretch, and you can play with interlacing the hands behind the left thigh. So choose which option feels better, and then settle in. If you're feeling the urge to move, can you deepen your breath instead? Let's take 5 more cycles of breath. First, lifting your head up, straightening it out, and then sliding your hands back underneath your body, lifting the torso up. We can take a downward dog here if you'd like, just kicking that right leg back and pedaling out the feet. Maybe just taking note, which a little unbalanced here, so noticing how the right hip feels versus the left. Sometimes it takes being out of balance to recognize what being in balance feels like. And you can eventually come back to a tabletop position. And then we'll move to that opposite side. So just walking that left leg forward. Right, left toes ankle out, heels in, and the knee follows the toes. And then if you'd like, you can thicken up the mat a bit or place a blanket underneath it. We've also got props as an option to kind of lift you up a bit here, not needing to go into that full deepest posture right away. And then you can just play with some movement for the first minute or so, feeling free to twist a little. And if you did for the other side, feel free to bend into that back leg and reach around for that outer foot, stretch into the quadricep. If you've got that foot, you can let it go, come on back, and option to drop to the forearms or stay on your hands. No need to rush it. We'll be here for a while, so it's really nice just to let that process of the body opening happen without forcing it. Just noticing where your mind tends to go. Is it feeling hard or difficult? Notice if you can shift your thoughts onto more supportive ones. Maybe reminding yourself that you can do this. The sensations are temporary. If you'd like, you can find a deeper variation, maybe dropping all the way down to the forearms if you had support. Can you stay with it just another 30 seconds? Okay, just been here a little while, so moving nice and slowly with care. Bring those hands underneath your shoulders and then slowly start to shift the hips back, come into half splits. And then shift yourself forward and back. Just bring in some blood flow in. Okay, and we'll get ourselves set up for swan. So if you've got the blanket or bolster or pillow, go ahead and set that in front of you and then start to walk the left toes over. And then once again, no need to be parallel, but just to make sure the knee's angled out to the side. Look over the right shoulder and pick up the knee and see if you can walk it back, set it back down again. And then from a nice long spine, you can crawl yourself forward over the support and then turn the opposite cheek on the bolster. fighting any urge to move by simply deepening the breath. Let's take 5 more breaths, seeing if you can make them the deepest and slowest ones yet. Okay, first turning your head and shifting your gaze forward, and then sliding those hands back underneath you, sit your torso up. And then feel free to sweep that left leg back, take a downward dog, and pedal it out. And just kind of note how your hips are feeling now. Do they feel back in balance? And dropping the knees, can come back down to tabletop and then just have a seat. So we're going to make our way onto our back. So go ahead and lay on back, and you can gather knees in towards your chest. Might feel nice to make some knee circles. And we'll end with a spinal twist. So you can take any twist that feels best in your body. You can just simply drop both knees down to the left. But what I'll offer today is first picking up your hips and moving them a little over to the right, setting them back down. And then extend that left leg out and bring the right knee in towards your chest. And you can take that knee into your left hand, guide it across your body as you start to shift your gaze over to the right. If your knee's quite lifted, you can place something underneath it, like a pillow or a block. Also do the same for the shoulder if you'd like to. And taking a breath all the way into the belly. Open mouth, exhale. 3 more conscious breaths. To unwind, bring those knees back up towards the sky. Hug them in and sway a little side to side. We'll balance it out. So you can set your hips down and just move them a little over to the left. This helps us twist a little bit more aligned. And then the right leg can extend. Left knee comes in towards the chest. And guide it with your right hand across your body. Open up to the left, gaze to the left. And feel free to place a pillow underneath that left knee, maybe placing a blanket underneath the left shoulder blade. If there's quite a bit of space between you and the mat, it might feel nice to build yourself up a bit. Close up your eyes if they're not already. Taking that breath into your belly, feel it expand even in this twisted posture all the way to the belly. Let it out of your mouth. Three more breaths. Bring those knees on back up to the sky. And as you hug your knees in, just kind of checking in with your body, asking if there's anything else that would help round out the practice. Maybe taking a happy baby, bringing the soles of the feet up towards the sky, reaching for the outer edges. Or maybe it already feels complete and you want to move into Shavasana. Just taking these next minute or so to explore any other movement. No rush, but as you're ready, we'll make our way to Shavasana. And I'd like to offer a yin variation of Shavasana, pentacle. So It's all about taking up more space. If you'd like to take traditional Shavasana, feel free. That's a great option. Otherwise, take your feet out wider than the yoga mat. And then arms come out beside you. Palms face up. And if you have a bolster or blanket or pillows, it can feel really grounding to set them on top of your hips and kind of just create a little extra weight here. So whichever option you've chosen, just walk your shoulder blades a bit together on your back so that can open up your heart space, leave your heart open. And then close off your eyes. Relaxing through your face, your eyebrows, your jaw, your tongue. Feeling yourself supported. And just trusting there's nothing you need to do in this moment. No need to control your breath. Your body knows exactly what to do. Full surrender. Shavasana. Slowly starting to reawaken your body, the sounds you hear in the room, and Taking a big breath in through your nose, filling up, and letting it out. Rolling out the wrists and ankles and stretching arms overhead. And eventually resting one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Just acknowledging your body and its efforts today. Offering it deep appreciation. And then roll over to your left side. Taking a pause before pressing yourself, giving yourself that permission to take your time to come up to a seat. And eventually making your way to a seated posture with palms together at your heart center, Anjali Mudra. Eyes closed or softly gazing at your fingertips. Scanning your body, seeing how you feel after this yoga practice, noticing the ways that it has served you. Knowing that this feeling is always available to you. And together we'll guide our thumbs to the third eye center, the space between your eyes, for peaceful thoughts. Down to the mouth for kind words. And back to your heart for love and gratitude. Namaste.